So I'm starting a lot early tonight because I want to answer to a few things before I start in on the official topic. But welcome to the Condor DM show, right? It's the official main show on Sunday, and we're covering Pendragon. But there is a reason I'm starting super early tonight because I seen something and had to call my family lawyer because we're going to look into it. So I seen what was either a fake receipt of somebody using my name to try to charge people to play a game. I was like, oh, okay. So either it's fake or it's real. And Wednesday, my family lawyer is going to come down. We're going to have a meeting and we're going to look into it to see if someone's actually using my name on some site out there and trying to charge people to play a game under my name. And then we're going to look at the options after that, right? But yeah, I called my family lawyer. I seen this fake receipt. I'm like, either it's fake or it's real. But if it's real, that means somebody's using my name to try to charge somebody for playing a game. I've been running tabletop role-playing games since 1991. I've never charged anybody money to play my game, ever. Not one time. I've had people buy the pizza. I've had people buy gaming books. I've had people cover my ass because some of my players can be very wealthy at times, so they'll cover my butt going out to a place. I've never, ever charged anybody, but it's a major accusation. Hey there, Craig, what's up? From Wales. Glad to see you. Pendragon night. It's going to be fucking awesome. Look, once we hit the topic, it's going to be great on the topic, right? Pendragon's going to be beautiful, but I started a bit early because I was shown something and I had to call my family lawyer, which is showing me some either fake receipt or something real. I don't know where it would be from, what site it would be on, but it shows my name, one of my images that I use, and somehow I guess it shows me charging somebody to play a game. So I'm like, I've never done that. And that means either somebody's using my name illegally online to charge people to play a game, or it's fake. One of the two, but I can't let that go by. That's too much of a major accusation to let slide. So call the family lawyer. They're going to come here Wednesday, have a meeting with me, and we're going to look into this. Like, is it somebody actually using my name to charge people? Right? And if it is, well, then we'll look into more options. But if it's not, if it's just a fake receipt, well, we'll look into the options there because that's pure character assassination. That's how that works. So I know, Craig, they couldn't take me down with a stream. They can't take me down with all these attacks. Now it's just hardcore lies, accusing me of charging people and everything. So I'm like, I'm bringing a lawyer into it. Like if somebody's out there using my name to charge people, I'm bringing a lawyer into it. Howdy, Hydro. What's up? New guy. Welcome to the stream. We're covering Pendragon. Starting a little bit early because there's a little bit of drama I'm just answering to, which is somebody was showing me what looks like either a fake receipt or a real receipt from somewhere where it shows my name and charging somebody to play a game. Never done that. I've been running games, like I said, tabletop role-playing games since 1991. I've never charged anybody to play my game, ever, not one time. So either someone's out there illegally using my name to charge people, right, and using an image that I use all the time, the skull one, or it's a fake receipt. But we're going to look into the options. I'm meeting with my family lawyer there Wednesday, and we're going to check it out. I can't just have that be going on. That's too much. That's too much. It's like, okay, guys, I know some people don't like me, right? And if you can attack me, verbally say this, you can do all kinds of forms of character assassination that are legal, even if I don't like them. But if you're going to go show me a receipt where it shows my name charging somebody to play a game, well, if somebody's using my name, that is illegal, right? So I'm bringing my family lawyer in just to protect myself because I'm a public person. And I sort of knew this would be part of, the gimmick as becoming a public person, that you're going to have people do crazy things to you. I was always hoping it was over game, so you would never get things to go that far, right? Thank you, Craig. I will. I definitely will. I'll take any help from any of my supporters if they want. But I looked at it and I was like, this is too much. This is too much. Character assassination is one thing. This is a crime, right? What I'm being shown is either a fake receipt or something illegal is going on under my name, right? That's too much. That's too much of trying to take me down. I don't mind that people don't like me. They can say all kinds of things, but that was too much. The other thing is the last few days, I've been getting these sort of subtle threatening comments sent my way. I'm evil. I've opened Pandora's box. And then it's like, oh, we're going to milk you for this, or, you're going to get what's coming to you. And when you hear stuff like that, like, oh, we're going to milk you because you deserve it because you're evil, or you're going to get what's coming to you. To me, that's threatening. even if the people aren't really that threatening, they're just sending stuff out there. I'm like, no, I'm going to make these comments start going public, and I'm going to report them to YouTube because that's too much. Yeah, I sort of knew this type of stuff could happen as you become more public or you grow a bigger audience. It just, wow, because I only cover tabletop role playing games. And yeah, somebody talks shit, I might talk shit back to them, but I've never looked at it as something deeper than that, right? And I get somebody want to, some people want to assassinate my character, make people not want to support me. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I mean, there's a limit that you can go, right? Before it gets into the point where you're threatening people or using their name illegally to charge people money for a game, to play a game, which is not happening with me. So I just got to make sure that that's just not going to come back to hurt me in the future, right? Because I'm not doing anything. So I'm going to make sure I'm clean on that end. Just major accusations. It's people going too far, just too far, right? So going to make sure that's all good. Tonight, we're covering Pendragon. I'm covering Pendragon. But of course, some chatters might be throwing some stuff in there. That's how it works here. And they always assist me when they can. And I appreciate it. And I tell people, like, you don't always have to chat here. I'm an entertainer. I'm here with a plan, right? So you can sit back, paint your miniatures, relax. I know my audience are usually older people. So I don't expect them to be all chatty all night with me. It's all good. I'll relax. Good. I hope you enjoyed tonight. But that's why we're starting super early, right? Just to cover some of that stuff. And I do this casual time to let people roll in. Because a lot of people, when I started streams right on time and I start into the topic pretty quickly, they have to backtrack, they miss stuff. And I'm like, I'll start early, let people just get comfortable. Pretty much, I do this routine at every session or every stream, right? Session, like I'm game mastering. Yeah, Craig, hysteria seems to have crossed the line. Now, it's just people have tried to take me down for years. They thought they were going to achieve that the other night with a certain stream. Absolutely didn't work at all. And now they're just upset, right? People that don't like me. Again, it's okay to not like me. I get it. I totally get it. But it creeps me out because it's like some of these people, I wonder if they lived nearby, would I end up on like some 48-hour show? Like it's like, here's Steven's End on some A&E show. And I'm like, dude, I like that gets creepy with me. People making threats, people making fake receipts, or even charging people under my name to play a game. That's crazy. So yeah, bringing the family lawyer in just to make sure. And I talked to him like last year, and he said if I ever get to the point where this type of stuff starts happening, to contact him right away. So I did, and he understands what's going on. He's like, yeah, if somebody's using your name illegally to charge people, that has to be shut down as quickly as possible because that is illegal, right? And yeah, it's all character assassination. Like he said, there's nothing he could do for people just telling little fibs about me to a point, right? But the more public you become, the more it's like, you have certain rights, right? So people keep lying to you, lying about you, especially if they're another, say, content creator. Oh, there's options, right? So I'm going to make sure I'm protected as best I can. That's all. That's where I'm at on that. So yeah, Pendragon's going to be fun. I don't want that to overtake the Pendragon topic, but I had to answer to it. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. I've never had anybody. I mean, I've had people fake my name. Like I'll see Instagram accounts where it's like Condor DM, and I'm like, I don't even have that. Or a TikTok account. I'm like, I've never been on TikTok, and I'll see Condor DM, and I'm like, well, if there is an account on TikTok, it's not me. I've never had a TikTok account, right? I've seen multiple Discord accounts where people come in a gaming area where I'm at, where it's like, I'm still under the Steven Saunders right now. And I'll see a guy pop in with the name Condor DM. And I'm like, okay, sure. And there's more than one of those, right? Even on X, I've seen a few accounts with my Condor DM gimmick, but it's not me. But those accounts I leave alone. They're just probably trolling or trying to make me look bad. And there's not much I can do about that. So it's not like I go overboard even thinking about it. But when you're going to show me a receipt that shows Steven Saunders has charged somebody like $200 American or something to play a game, I'm like, well, if it's fake, it's one thing. Still options there. But if that's real, that means someone is illegally using my name to charge people to play a game. That is absolutely dead serious, something I can't let go. So we do have a family lawyer, and that's one thing I turn to right away. Right? It's not like I can afford something major. He's going to come down Wednesday there, and we're going to have a long talk and look into the entire situation. That's what's going on. He said the vague threats, if they get more direct, to let him know. He's going to look at the things because he's told me to start saving any comments coming my way that can seem threatening, and he's going to take a look at them when he gets here. Right? And I'm also letting YouTube know of all these sort of vague threats where, again, it's like, you're evil, Steven or Condor DM. You've opened Pandora's box, and we're gonna you're gonna get what's coming to you, or we're gonna milk you or something. It's like that's vague threats of trying to justify some insanity towards me. And I'm like, well, that's very threatening. So I'm gonna have him take a look at that stuff. I have a few of these saved up now, and I'm just recording everything. You send it my way, I'm doing that. So my lawyer this Wednesday can have a look at all this stuff, and we're going to look at our options, right? It's just been a couple of days of craziness. Insanity. Like it doesn't fizz me out too much, but it's something I realize I can't let slide. You can't get threats like that and just let it go, right? Let it go into the thing. And when somebody shows me some fake receipt, well, it's either fake or it's real. So that got me. Oh, that got my attention. Yeah, thank you for showing me that. So I'm going to take that serious. Yeah, I think it's just, honestly, I think it's just a desperate attack, desperation, and character assassination because people have not been able to take me down as they want to. And it wasn't ever going to work. And now they gotten to the point where all the shit they've thrown at me hasn't worked. Now it's down to the most extreme lies you could imagine. Even fake is a conspiracy to commit fraud. Yeah, I've never charged anybody. I've been running tabletop role playing games since 1991. I've never charged anybody. I had people buy pizza, had people buy me books. I went to a few of the HowlCon things where people sort of took care of everything financially. My players did. Never asked them to. Never charged anybody. Nothing. Right? Just not my gimmick. Right? I don't do that. I'm someone who's a little bit sour on people that can charge people to play games. So I criticize it. It's not something I would do. All right, that's all. So just have to take it serious. I can't let stuff like that go by. So if you carelessly throw that type of stuff out there, now it's time for me to take it serious. And constant threats, like underlining vague threats, yeah, you can downplay them all you want. It's just people aren't just calling me evil. They're adding little snippets at the end, like you're going to get what's coming to you. Oh, am I? And what does that mean? Right? Or we're going to milk you. Oh, yeah. Is that this the locale thing? Or is that something else? What do you mean by that? So these are things that aren't direct threats, but they're vague hints at threats of people wanting to do something to you. Yeah, there's been DMs over the years, game masters, especially with the WotC stuff, that will charge minimal amounts of money. But I mean, they're all up front. They charge people, I guess, to play their game. Or some people at shops will charge people to play their game. Now, at conventions, there's a charge you're getting at the door. So you're getting charged to go play games. That's, I guess, all on board. But there's someone out there showing, oh, here's a receipt that says Steven Saunders on it, charge somebody to play a game. And I'm like, well, either that's fake and that's pure character assassination because I've never done that, or it's someone using my name to legitimately rip people off, and that is illegal. That's against the law. So that's how I can't let that slide. And I had to get that out of the way tonight because I just seen some of that stuff earlier. And I'm like, okay, you want to know what? As much as we're going to focus on Pendragon, now I tell anybody who watches this in the future, even right now, you can always speed up, right? Doesn't take much to skip through, get to a certain time. And we're going to start on what I have for Pendragon tonight. But this stuff is so serious, I had to start the stream a little extra early and cover it. Right? Good evening, Black Rose. Good. I'm glad you're here. And Craig. Whew. To me, that's enough for me, right? I hope there's a lot of people around that want to hear about Pendragon because I'm going to teach it. A wild Black Rose has appeared. Get the Pokeball, baby. It's Master Ball. We're going for it. It's just that people don't know about running Pendragon and they've heard about it, heard it sounds cool. They get vague statements from people that like it about how great Pendragon is. Because I know a lot of people say, I've heard it's a great game, but I don't know much about it. And I'm like, well, let me teach you about it. Let me teach you what is attractive about Pendragon. We'll go over the criticisms too, right? All right, threats. I mean, they're not direct threats, so I don't think I can like just and like my family lawyer said, if they're direct threats, there's options. But even the vague ones, right, are something he wants me to save. So I start saving them last night. That was his advice to me right away. Start saving the stuff, right? Oh, Monkey, the new guy. Oh, glad you're here, dude. Yeah, I'm going to cover everything. Everything you want to know about Pendragon. So if you don't know much, we're good. just cleaning up shit. It's all good. But Pendragon's going to be fun. I'm going to teach you about running the game, basics on character creation, stuff behind the game. We're going to cover 4th edition, but we're going to go a little bit through all the editions so you can see it, what's up, right? Well, you get through as much as you can. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the meat off the bone for you there, Black Rose, or at least make it very attractive before you have to hit off. So, and hopefully I can get through this without it taking 3 hours or something. I'm pretty sure something close to an hour or so. And then we can do a little free talk after that, right? Have a lot of fun. Do all we do. A few minutes before I start, again, this is just making sure everyone that wants to be here for this can be here at the start of me covering the actual game, Pendragon. It's insane being a public figure. I always hoped it would never come to this. I seen so many people on YouTube go through this shit. And I'm like, I'm just covering tabletop role-playing games. I guess some people don't like me, but I'm like, I'll never have to go through this, right? Here we are. No, I hope to not disappoint. That's the aim. That's the aim. I got the energy for this, regardless of the shit up front. Totally excited about this. Happy. I ran Pendragon a whole bunch of times. I love the game. And I'm going to give a little special focus on 4th edition, my favorite edition of the game. And of course, we'll go over the criticisms, right? And defenses of the whole thing, right? We'll start off by I'll go over exactly what I'm covering. We're covering in a few minutes, but I'll sort of give you the lineup of how I'm going to cover this. We're going to start off at the influences behind Pendragon. Then we're going to go to the birth. And then we're going to go into what I call the soul of Pendragon. It's just a deeper part. There's something more to this than some of the other games I've covered, something special. And then we're going to get into running it. Then we're going to get into character creation, very basic area. Then we're going to get into the criticisms and defenses. Then we'll jump to 4th edition, right? And then we'll go all the way through the changes throughout the editions throughout the years, right? A lot of people don't like some of the newer stuff whatsoever. I prefer always to stick to 4th edition, right? Because I felt like it cleaned up the game for the person who runs it. I felt it was just easier to run 4th edition than it was the previous editions. I just wasn't big on the editions that follow. I didn't think they really altered it that much or made it easier. So it was like 4th edition did a lot of things that people like me wanted to see. It's like this is what the game was meant to be. That's what 4th edition was for me. Because I played and ran the earlier editions. It was like, okay, there's what's this? And you get confused about something, but you get used to running it. 4th edition sort of just cleans up all the language and makes it more clear and easier to run. Plain and simple. But yes, energized. Pendragon, baby. I hope people will really take a lot out of this because I've just heard so many people say they've heard so many good things, but don't know enough about it. They don't know if they want to invest in it or bother to go get the game to begin with. Like, it sounds cool, but we don't know. And they hear this from the people that play it. Every time I hear people talk about Pendragon, they don't go through the details that would really promote or sell the game. They're just trying to say, like, they're hyped about the game. And I'm like, okay, I just need to cover this. I need to do something special for Pendragon. Get this information out there so people really have an idea of what this is on a deeper level. Because it might not be for some people, no matter what they've heard about it, but it might be for a lot of people, right, that don't realize what it is they're missing out on. It's one thing to hear about Pendragon, but I want to hype you up. Because if it's something you would play, stop missing out on this game. I'm serious. Stop missing out. All right, we're at the time. Here we are. Pendragon, baby. It's time. Welcome to the Condor DM show. What inspired Pendragon? Okay, this one has to be clear, man, because it has a clear source, unlike some of the previous games I've been talking about recently. Pendragon absolutely is built from specific sources, and you can feel it in every part of the game. The core truth. Pendragon was inspired directly by Arthurian legend and designed to emulate it as closely as possible. Arthurian. Not just the setting, the structure, tone, and themes of those stories. Okay, so we get to Arthurian literature, the main influence. The biggest influence is La Morte d'Arthur. I can have some, that name is French. That name, I get it all wrong every time I say it, but I'm sorry. Also drawing from French Arthurian romance. You would think, I mean, probably, but it really comes from the literature. If you actually read back to what the guys who made this game said, this is what they say inspired them, was the old literature. It's probably that inspired the that movie, right? But they say pretty much they were inspired by more the literature than anything. That's what they say. So I'm going over the areas where they talked about. So French Arthurian romances, medieval knightly tales. What this brought into the game: chivalry, honor, tragedy, romance, loyalty versus betrayal. The entire system is built to reflect these themes. Pendragon isn't inspired by Arthurian legend. It's trying to be an Arthurian legend. So it's trying to recreate it, not just be inspired by it. Greg Stafford's design philosophy. Designer Craig Stafford had a very specific approach. Deep interest in myth, culture, story structure. He didn't want a generic medieval RPG. He wanted a game that makes players behave like characters in myth. So this is one where you could just get the character and you play it out like you want. He's designed a game that really is going to influence the player, put them in spots to more behave, more react to the world as if they are one of these people at that time, right? Really get that type of role play out. Reaction against typical RPG play. At the time, most RPGs focused on combat, exploration, loot. Pendragon pushes back hard. What if the game is about who your character is, not what they fight? This leads to traits and passions, generational play, and honor systems. Tragedy and romance, not power fantasy. Arthurian stories are not about winning. They are about falling in love, betrayal, failure, duty versus desire. Pendragon builds mechanics around that, right? Pendragon is inspired by stories where the hero doesn't always win, but the story still matters. It's very important. It's not about winning. It's about the experience. It's about reliving some of this stuff from old literature. Feudal society and knighthood. The game is grounded in medieval hierarchy, land ownership, manners, loyalty to lords, social obligations. This is why the winter phase exists. Reputation and honor matters. Myth over realism. Unlike simulation-heavy games, Pendragon is not trying to be realistic. It's trying to be mythically accurate, meaning emotions matter more than physics. Honor matters more than tactics. Pendragon isn't simulating reality, it's simulating legend. So this is not your typical approach from a war game or mindset, right? This is about trying to simulate what those stories were trying to push. In a way, it is simulation of something. It's just not trying to simulate the real world in that way. Interesting fact. Pendragon's famous systems, traits, passions, generational play, all exist because Stafford wanted players to experience the same kinds of stories found in Arthurian myth. Directly inspired by Arthurian literature, built to emulate myth, not just setting. Focus on personality and emotion. Rejects power fantasy, as we already talked about. Designed to designed to create tragic, meaningful stories. Pendragon wasn't inspired by mechanics or system. It was inspired by the idea that a role-playing game could feel like a legend being lived. So if you wanted to know what it was like to be King Arthur, this is what it's like to be King Arthur. Get it? That's what they're trying to simulate, what it is like to be an actual person in that story. So this first starts telling you about what the game really is. Like, we're not to some of the rules or how to run it yet. I'm giving you some influences so you can get an idea what these guys were aiming for with the game to begin with. Right? So the game is unique, and it's why is it unique? Why is it different? Why does role play here seem to matter in certain parts of the game more than, say, combat and exploration? And it's a little less about gamey, I guess, a little bit more about story. You story gamers out there might appreciate this one. I think Monkey would. I know he's, some of the simulation games I talked about recently wouldn't be up his alley, but I think a person like you, Monkey, might really enjoy something like that. I think everyone in my audience would most likely enjoy Pendragon. I really do. I don't think I have someone in the audience that wouldn't find something interesting about this, because it is still a game. Like, so the elements, like if you just take it in as a game instead of just story, it's interesting. It's not bad, right? The birth of Pendragon. Arthurian legend done right. Pendragon 1985 is what happens when the designer says, let's stop treating RPGs like a dungeon crawl and actually role play being a knight in Arthurian legend. And then builds the entire system around that idea. You'll notice this with a lot of games. There's a certain thing that the designer wants to get out of it. So everything becomes building towards making it real. So it starts making a lot more sense how you got certain games, why they were made that way. I see game designers doing a lot of games today, and they don't seem to really understand some of this stuff. This is old game designer mindset. Thank you, Black Rose. I hope you're enjoying this part. Because to me, it really is. I have a passion for all this stuff. So, you know the deal. You know the deal. Okay. Who made it? As we talked about, designed by Craig Stafford, published by Chaosium. Same guy behind Ruin Quest. Deep interest in myth, culture, and storytelling. The core idea behind Pendragon. Most RPGs at the time focused on exploration, as we said, combat, loot. Pendragon said, what if the game is about a knight and living that life over time, generational play? Like it's having the child moving forward, like really living a life for a purpose, because there's going to be some other purpose in the game. The setting, unlike a lot of other systems, Pendragon is locked into Arthurian Britain. This includes King Arthur, the Round Table, chivalry, honor, romance, tragedy. This is not optional. The game is built for this world, as we already went over. A lot of people bypass Pendragon for reasons. And I'm like, there is a unique experience here. Really is. What made it different immediately? Traits and passions. This is the core innovation. Yeah, I covered it in the first 20 minutes. 1 second, I apologize. Yep. Oh, yeah. I apologize, my friends. Give me a moment. I have company here. They wanted to stop me and get something from me. I guess thanks to the commenter for bringing that up. I covered it in the first 20 minutes. Went over it in detail. I'm not going to keep going over that subject. I think Tolkien's translation of Gawain and the Green Knight would be a central reading for this game. Oh, no, don't, Craig. 100% agree with that. I always love how my guys they know to bring certain things up. You really should be digging into some of that to really get a feel for this, right? So what made it different immediately? Let's go over this little part again. Traits and passions. This is the core innovation. Instead of just stats, characters have personality traits like brave, cowardly, honest, deceitful, passions, or loyalty, love, hate. No problem. You do that. These can influence decisions. Be rolled. So again, these can influence decisions, be rolled, even override player control. So this is where player agency is tested by the game. So it's a game thing, right? It's really going to push you towards this stuff. Meaning your character is not just what you choose, it's what they are. So you got to be true to the character. You've heard these statements a lot over time from different players. It's you got to be true to your character. In this game, you got to be true to your character. It is core to the game that you are true to the character. It's all these things are going to be developed at trying to get you towards a certain thing. And if you play away from that, well, you're playing the game wrong, somebody might say, right? Okay, generational play, huge feature. Pendragon tracks time across years, decades. Your knight ages, has children, eventually dies. Then you play as they're here. This is massive. Campaigns become family legacy, not just one character story. Isn't that interesting? In a D&D game, you might make up 5 characters because they're going to die. And this, you're probably going to, if you play long campaigns, you're probably going to play more than one character, but it is meant for generational play, completely different purpose. So you have a child. If you have a child, that child grows up. When you pass away with that character, boom, you're on to the next character. There's some folklore guy when lived in Candlestone Castle, a landmark close to my home. Yeah, I've already talked. I'm like I said, I won't say more than this. Bringing a family lawyer in to take a look at that. And if somebody is using my name to illegally charge people, we're going to look at our options, right? Oh, Jack, no worries. Everyone talks smack about me. Everybody does. Everybody lies, character assassination. But don't want to get away from Pendragon. That's more important, the gaming stuff, not some petty bullshit drama. So I'll ask you guys not to focus on that. If you're here to watch this for the Pendragon, be here to watch this. If not, shut the fuck up. All right? Nothing personal, Jack, but shut the fuck up about the drama. Thank you. Good. Hope I handled that as well as I could. So, again, this is massive. Campaigns become family legacy, not just one character story. Yeah, if you love gaming, don't fuck with a gaming stream, right? Put your pettiness on the fucking back burner. Enjoy Pendragon. Stop trying to ruin this if you actually have a passion for gaming. If you have no respect for tabletop role-playing games, you'll keep talking about some petty drama in my comment section. So I'm going to ask you out there, if you give a fuck about what we do here in gaming, show it. All right, well, you go away. Looks like you do this. See that? Just want you guys to see. Oh, it's a shame that that type of stuff really happens. Oh. There. Sorry about that, guys. I really want to focus on this. I don't want to focus on that. I'm already covering it. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I won't keep repeating. Somebody is most likely either making up fake receipts or using my name illegally to charge people to play a game. I'm bringing in my family lawyer to have a look at this Wednesday. So we'll take a look at it. And if somebody's illegally using my name, we'll look at our options after that. Okay, back to this, baby. This is what you're here for. It's what you should be here for if you're a gamer. God, it's a shame people are like this. But it is what it is. I can't get by that part, so I can only ask you to look past that. All right, role play over mechanics, but still structured. Combat exists, Stats exist, but the focus is honor, reputation, and relationships. It's a big part of the game here, right? There is stuff like this. It just there's a lot less focus on it being the major piece of what you're doing. Behavior is mechanically enforced. Like I said, this is a bit of pushing back against your common player agency. Well, boo boo. I'm in the middle of a stream. I don't know if they're talking about me or talking about somebody else. I have no idea. Oh, it's a shame. I got no time to sort that stuff out. I'll apologize to him later. Hopefully, you can just watch and relax. Obviously, he was talking about drama. He can sit back and enjoy the show. Man, it gets me kerfuffled when they bring this shit up. I'm in the middle of talking about Pendragon. Here, let me talk about a scam. Come on, dude. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. Happens. I'll fix that later. Okay, behavior is mechanically enforced. I apologize to anyone who was trying to be polite and I misunderstood what they were saying. I get so many fucking things sent my way. I get a lot of guys where they're being reasonable with me at first, and they'll be like, well, I think you're a piece of shit liar. It's like, Jesus, okay, goodbye, guy. I thought you were talking reasonable for a second. Of course not. Thank you, Black Rose, for pointing that out to me, though. Oh, shit. Okay, if you act against your knight's nature, the system can push back. Example. I get you. Example. A cowardly knight may fail to act bravely, even if the player wants to. And yes, certain people are scammers. So a cowardly knight may fail to act bravely, even if the player wants to. Well, I'm going over this. It's all going to be part of this. Don't worry. But where I like things to be improved, remember, these are fact-based streams. These are less about opinion. So that I'm going to do some streams where I cover some things I might have left out. People can ask me what I think then, what I really. This is all about covering the facts tonight, right? That's why it's on the fact list, right? So we just cover facts. My favorite is 4th edition. I don't think I would do a lot to that. I think it did a lot that I was already sort of trying to do with the previous editions. Okay, let's start back over at this part again. Behavior is mechanically enforced because I don't want people get lost in this. This is the key. If you act against your knight's nature, the system can push back. Example, a cowardly knight may fail to act bravely, even if the player wants to. This is push back on the player agency, right? In a way, it's not because it's part of the game. So you might say it's not really agency you're meant to have. The big shift in design, Pendragon is not about winning, power, optimization. It's about living out a mythic life as a knight. So the game wants you to have the experience of the knight in that type of fantasy timeline. In the stories you might have read about, that's what's important to this game. That's where the mechanics are going to aim you towards, right? The reality of its release, what people loved. Unique focus on character and story, deep role-play mechanics, strong identity. What threw people off, less player control at times. Not a power fantasy, very specific setting. Pendragon isn't about what you want to do, it's about what your knight would do. This is being true to the character, right? Let me say that again. Pendragon isn't about what you want to do, it's about what your knight would do. Most RPGs let you play a character. Pendragon makes you live one. Where it fits in RPG history, Pendragon stands out because it pushed role-playing mechanics forward. It focused on personality, emotion, legacy, way ahead of its time in that area. Pendragon is what happens when you build an RPG around honor, legacy, and myth rather than combat and loot. Again, if you're a story gamer, this is something you want to. If you haven't, I don't know why you haven't. Now, let me see here for a second. Oh, it's such a shame these things happen. It really is. Looking at options, people, give me a second. Be patient with me. Oh, so Jack, if you come back to this and you're listening, I do apologize for that, man. I really do. I'll take back the whole comment that I said a little earlier. Just want to make that clear to poor Jack. I feel bad. I feel bad. I really do. That was a mistake. I thought he was like, oh, heard somebody talking about you and then doing that thing. Just a major mistake. I thought he was calling me a scammer. I'm like, geez, I've had so many accusations thrown at me in the last 2 days. It's hard to separate sometimes, when people aren't using clear language, or I get a little confused, especially live here. I'm doing this and focused on this for everyone. So I apologize. I really do. I just wanted to say that before moving on any further. Pendragons, traits, and passion, the soul of the game. This is the part that separates Pendragon from almost everything else. Not combat, not stats. Your character's personality is a mechanic. Like, the role play here is playing the game. I mean, in the area of playing character, role play can mean a lot of things, but you understand what I mean. Traits. Who your knight is. Pendragon uses paired personality traits. So, like, valorous is the opposite of cowardly. Honest, the opposite of deceitful. Merciful, the opposite of cruel. Generous is the opposite of selfish. Pious is the opposite of worldly. Each pair, numerical value split between two opposites. Example, valorous 16, cowardly 4. That tells you this is a brave knight, and the system knows it. So if the cowardly had a higher number, like say on your character thing, so cowardly was 10, you have you're brave in the idea of, like, say you had like a 4. Well, that means the character is more cowardly. So it's telling you a bit about what you're going to be role playing before you start role playing. So it doesn't get you too confused. If you understand that common sense, you start having an idea of how to role play your character. Like, game wise, you might say, oh, I want to do this. But when you look at that, well, would that guy do that? Well, those things will tell you if that guy would do that. So it actually is easier to play the character, and the game designer wants it to be easier. They don't want this to be difficult. It's not meant for you to be super advanced. It's meant to be guided by this stuff. So what the game wants you to do, it's easy to do. Right? That's a very important thing. A lot of people think, oh, it's hard for role play. No, it's not. It gives you a guiding format, very basic guiding format of the type of character you have. So then any situation you're in, it's easier to look at the type of character you have and then apply that to your thinking when you're reacting to something. Right? That's as easy as it can be. Like, again, if it's like merciful and cruel, if you have a high merciful and a low cruel, it means in a fight, if you have a chance to not kill somebody, but you've defeated them, you will show mercy. You won't just go for the kill like you're playing a video game. Right? That's the idea. That's so playing the character they want is not hard to do. I hope that makes it a little, because I heard a lot of players, is this really hard to play? No. It's unique, but it's not hard. And it uses a lot of common sense little gimmicks like this to give you an idea of what the game really wants to get out of you for role play. How it works in play. When a situation comes up, you may be asked or choose to roll a trait. If you succeed, you act accordingly to the trait. If you fail, you may act against it. So, basically it'd be rolling the trait for the merciful thing. You can fail it, and then you got to show some cruelty. Maybe that's when you do the thing. But again, it is still all based on a sort of factured role play, right? Controlling you there. If you succeed, like I said, you act accordingly. If you fail, you may act against it. The big twist. Sometimes the system says, no, you don't get to choose. Just roll it. There's some situations where it is meant to put you in a situation where you could play who your character is, but sometimes the game is challenging. It's like a coin flip. It's in this situation, what it means is you could be merciful, and you really are. If it's not really pushing you to play the trait rollout, you could just play merciful. So you can choose to. You can call for a trait roll as a player, as a challenge to yourself, and you're allowed to do that. But there's some situations that force you into making that roll. That's why those numbers become important. It's not just a guidance of who your character is for the most part. It's also a guidance to nobody's perfect. That's the idea. So no matter how merciful you are, you might do something cruel. So basically, your knight's personality can override stuff you want to do personally in those situations. That's the idea. So you might call for a trait to challenge yourself, or just play to the trait that you're more specifically leaning to. But in those situations, it really is sort of the game overriding your choice. Player agency gone. What this creates, you're not fully in control of your character. Again, I've been pointing that out. Player agency isn't the same in this game as it is in other games. That's intentional. It's part of the design. Passions, what your knight feels. Passions are stronger than traits. Example, love, family, which would be family, wife, king. Loyalty, lord, king, and say King Arthur. Hate would be like enemies, Saxon. Honor, hospitality. These are emotional drivers. You roll passions to inspire yourself, push beyond limits, act in intense situations. Passion and action. If you succeed a passion roll, you gain bonuses. You act with conviction. You become stronger. If you fail, you may hesitate, lose composure. If you roll really bad, fumble, emotional collapse, irrational behavior, even madness in extreme cases. So you ever hear the drama stories where the guy goes and just walks in and kills an entire family, but he was a knight, just goes crazy? Well, that's in these stories. Well, that's sort of what that represents. If you fumble, it could be emotional collapse, irrational behavior, even madness in extreme cases. The key difference: traits equal personality baseline, who you are. Passions equal emotional spikes, right? They can give you benefits, they can hurt you. Together, they define how your character behaves under pressure. And the idea is there's going to be a lot of pressure on your character in all these different situations throughout the game, right? So it's under pressure. How does your character act? Do you act merciful? Do you do all this thing? Are you loving? Who knows? And this is all going to develop who your character is, right? And it's one of the best ways to develop a personality I've ever seen in any game. But what it does, again, is takes a bit from player agency. So for story gamers that might like it, that part might be a little odd to them, but I personally love it. Why this is so powerful? Most RPGs, you can decide how your character acts. Pendragon, the system tests your character's nature. So it's not like you don't know who your character is. All these numbers do show you who your character is. Initially, this is who they are. That's what I was meaning earlier. So it's telling you, so you have an idea of how to role play if you don't have the challenge of the traits coming up. You have an idea of how to basically go about encountering the world. It's just after that, that's when the trait rolls can come in, the passion rolls can come in, and they can screw up the entire system. If not, they can lean more into who your character already is. So basically what I'm saying at the start, you're not confused about who the character initially is, but nobody's perfect. And this game is more about being a real person than a character in a video game, right? Okay, this is where people push back. One of the major complaints, the game is taking control away from me. It's so common. That's why people get a little sour, because it is taking player agency away from you. But that's by design that it does that. The defense? No, it's making your character real. It's like, this is who they really are. You're playing to who the character really is. And in a way, it's realistic. It's another sort of part of the simulation of this game, right? It doesn't simulate like other games do. This is a simulation of the character, who they are. Pendragon doesn't trust you to role play your character. It builds the character into the system. So it just openly doesn't trust you. Like, you play a random character. It doesn't trust that you're going to do what a knight would do at that time. You don't just play a knight in Pendragon, you discover who the knight really is. And again, this is all the sort of, I know I'm going through fluff here. I hope this is always interesting. But when I get to the part where we run the game and character creation, I know that's what a lot of people are probably waiting for. But we'll get there. What this actually feels like. Eternal conflict becomes gameplay. Moral decisions matter. Emotional moments have weight. It creates drama, tragedy, and heroism. Why it fits Arthurian legend perfectly. Arthurian stories are about honor versus desire, loyalty versus betrayal, love versus duty. Traits and passions simulate exactly that. Something like that. Like it's parts of the game you are free, I guess, to whenever. Here's how it works. Here's how it takes player agency away. There's some freedom you don't have. What I mean is, if you want to play against who your character is, so say it says you're more merciful than cruel. Well, if you play more merciful, you don't have to challenge yourself. You don't have to be forced to challenge in a situation, right? But if you want to play cruel, even though you have a merciful character, you call for a trait roll. That means you're telling the person running the game right away, I want to do something cruel, even though I have a higher number as being merciful. And you can't just be cruel without the dice roll. And if the dice roll goes against you, you have to continue being merciful, right? Now, there's some parts of the game where it's just going to be trait roll comes up. And if it says you've got to be cruel, if you roll cruel, even though you're mostly merciful, you got to role play cruel. Oh, I knew you would, Philo. I know you like some of the other tougher games, but it's a unique simulation here of character. And it's once you start realizing that, you're like, oh, I imagine some war gamers can hear this and go, I didn't really know that's what this was. Yeah, because war gamers aren't as picky about player agency, to be honest. They're looking for simulation. So when they start hearing this, like, yeah. Now there's, again, a lot of players in the hobby are personally more into the other way around. But I mean, a lot of war gamers, I've talked to them and they're surprised once I go through what Pendragon is. I ran Pendragon for them and they're like, this is because they're looking to simulate stuff. They're like, wow, okay, this is cool. Okay. Real genius, the real genius. Instead of saying role play this, Pendragon says, let's build mechanics that force it to happen. Again, simulation. I hear that. Let's say that again. Slightly like Traveler, just doesn't take the agency away from the choices of exactly how you play the character, but slightly like Traveler. Definitely. And Vampire. There's essence of everything in Pendragon. Pendragon is a big box of stuff, right? That's true. So Pendragon says, I'll say this again, let's build mechanics that force it to happen, all this stuff. Traits and passions turn your character's personality into dice rolls, and that's what makes Pendragon what it is. In Pendragon, the greatest battle isn't against your enemies. It's between your knight's virtues, and their desires. So it's constantly this war between the merciful and the cruel. That's an example I'm giving, right? So it's, again, you can always, as long as there's no challenge from the game, you can always just play to the higher trait, right? Merciful, you can be merciful. Anytime you want to play cruel, it's not an auto or given. Again, that's where you got to say, you call it as a player. You have the authority to call that role because you want to do something cool. But if you try to play it where you do something cool, the game master has to punish you and say, you can't do that. That's part of the game. Okay, we're going to get to an important area. So this is running Pendragon, the GM side. How you actually run Pendragon. This one is a big shift. Running Pendragon is not about managing mechanics or survival. It's about guiding a life, a legacy, and a mythic tone. If you run this like a standard adventure game, it loses what makes it special. Craig, you're from an awesome, like you're from this world in a way. I can totally. I knew Craig would be talking about the right type of stuff. Everything he has suggested tonight about reading this or reading that. If anyone who's interested in this stuff really wants to understand what this game is trying to get at, he's hitting it out of the park. Better than I. He probably understands it. He's mentioning names I sort of heard, I sort of get. But if a guy like that is appreciating it, he's right. He's right on the ball. I guarantee it. So if you want to look into some of the stuff you're hearing from him, I would absolutely do that, especially if this appeals to you, right? Okay, the core mindset. This is everything. You are not just a GM, you are a chronicler of nights, a keeper of tone in the game, a judge of honor and consequences. Your job is to make the world feel like a legend being written. I mean, this is a form of storytelling in a way that it's a controlled form, but it is storytelling, more focused on storytelling and telling an interesting story than actually playing a random game. This is as deep as you get with storytelling in an actual tabletop role-playing game. One of the deepest, right? So when you say you're a storyteller gamer, I'm like, well, if you haven't played Pendragon, it's not Dungeons and Dragons. Don't confuse what this game is. Oh, yeah, I know. That's so true, Craig. So true. A lot of it, like you can still go around and take pictures where you're like, that picture could have, as long as there's no car in the background, that picture could have existed 2,000 years ago, or not 2,000, but like 1,000 years ago. Sorry, 2,000. Getting crazy on the numbers there, being stupid. All right, step one, the yearly structure. This is key. I wrote a little note for myself. This is key. Pendragon runs on a year-by-year cycle. Each year includes one or more adventures, spring, summer, then the winter phase. Little note for myself that I want to tell you. This is huge. During winter, characters age, manage their manner, gain or lose resources, deal with family events, possibly marry, have children, the heirs. This is where the game becomes a life simulation, not just an adventure. So the adventure might happen in the summer and spring, but where you start encountering the stuff that's going to create the children, decide what you have for resources, the sort of managing side, the generational life cycle type of thing. It happens, winter is a real focus on that. Step two, adventures are about honor, not loot. Your adventure should focus on chivalry, loyalty, moral choices, reputation. Not about grinding enemies, collecting treasure, power leveling. The reward is glory, honor, and the story itself. And if that's not a reward for you, this is not a game for you. Like if you need experience points and levels and that's all you're concerned, this is not for you. This is one of the most purest games where I say the experience truly matters more than the more, minute rewards, XP levels and whatnot. This game really, really puts itself on. You have to enjoy the glory, honor, and story. Step three, use traits and passions constantly. This is important. This is not optional. You should call for trait rolls, call for passion rolls, especially when a knight faces fear, temptation, loyalty conflicts. So where there should be a challenge to the characters, who they are, and it should be pretty consistent that they're going to be challenged on who they are, like challenged to be cruel. So, when it comes to passion and stuff like that, it should be quite something that doing it pretty consistently isn't you running the game wrong. That you find where it is, and it should be happening quite often, and you call for these roles. Important. Don't let players ignore this system. It is the game. So it's like if you let them act cruel without making it, like if say they're merciful, but they're doing a cruel thing, or they state they want to do something cruel, you got to stop and say, no. Okay, you got to make a dice roll. And if you fail, you can't do the thing you were going to do. It's just how it is. They speak cruelly. You got to backtrack. You got to say either clean up that role play or we'll say you didn't say it. You can't just break from the game, because if you do, you're not playing the game. I mean, it makes it pointless if players play that free hand with this. It is meant to be a control factor. So you got to get players understanding that. And that's part of the social contract before they join the game. Just clearly communicate this stuff. I've never had trouble with players playing this game because I clearly communicate the loss of agency. It's something you have to accept when you come in to play this game. Step 4, enforce tone. Arthurian, not generic fantasy. You must maintain nobility, tragedy, romance, duty. What breaks it? Modern attitudes, cynical play, treating it like a joke. If the tone slips, the game loses its identity. So you might get some guys playing D&D, drinking beer or pretzels, and they don't care what they say, what they do. It's just not a game for that. You got to tell players, like, this game, if you don't take it serious, you can't really play the game properly. I mean, that's exactly it. This is not a beer drinking game where you can be casual. This is a game that's going to demand that you play it seriously. And if not, you won't be playing it correctly. You wish the seriousness would be taken in a lot of other games, a person like me would, but it is what it is. Not every game has this demand type of thing. This game does. If not, you can't even really have the experience the game is trying to create, right? It becomes a pointless endeavor to do that. Step 5, consequences matter. Social, not just physical. In Pendragon, reputation matters. Honor matters. Relationships matter. Example, acting dishonorably damages reputation, affects future interactions. So basically, if you do some cruel things, people are going to hear about it. And that means somebody who might interact with you in the future might not give you the same sway, like, oh, I could trust you, you're a good guy, I'll make a deal with you, right? But if they don't trust you, they don't make the same deal with you. Some people may avoid you because of certain cruel actions. That's the point of reputation and affecting how people actually respond to you. And the person running the game has to take that serious. So if you do want to go around being a whatever hobo, this game is going to make you pay by taking opportunities away from you. This is not just combat consequences, it's social consequences. Step 6, you are not balancing encounters. Like with some older systems, this world exists as it is. Not everything is fair. Knights may lose, be humbled, and fail. So the game isn't trying to avoid this. That's part of the story. So you know how storytelling, they don't want character death in D&D? This game says, no, failing, falling on your sword, dying, it's part of actual storytelling. So we don't just take away character death, we lean into it because it is part of story, right? Losing, being humbled, failing, that's part of the story. Tragedy, right? Step 7, think long term. This is generational play. You are running years, decades, bloodlines. That means NPCs grow and change. Politics evolve, right? So the same politics you start out with might not be the same politics later. Families rise and fall. Who was the big family that was the nobility of that town when you first started the game? Might be people that are considered either dishonored or just no longer there. Like him and his children were wiped out in war. They just no longer exist. That's it. Or again, reputation has been brought down. So now they're bums on the street. They're not the nobility that you met when you started the game. The campaign is bigger than any one character, meaning the story is bigger than any one character, right? The essence of living that life is more important than just the one individual living. It's about what the world is to create a bigger story. Step 8, let drama happen. Don't protect players from it. Sounds really familiar to things like Rollmaster and Aftermath, but in a different way, This is critical. You should allow tragic outcomes, character death, or whatever, failed passions, broken loyalties, because that's the heart of Arthurian legend. If you've read these stories, you'll know that's true. And they're trying to recreate this. Running Pendragon isn't about giving players what they want. It's about showing what their knights become. You're not running adventures. You're recording a legend. Very important. You're not running adventures. You're recording. You're documenting a legend that is happening. And that legend can start, be big, end early, and even, you never know, the heroes might be the bigger legend of the story. Again, the legend isn't always about the individual character. The legendary part can just be the story itself. And there's legendary characters involved, but you get my point. What breaks the game? Ignoring traits and passions, letting players act however they want without consequences, treating it like a generic fantasy RPG, Dungeons and Dragons, focusing too much on combat and rewards, as I already said. That strips out everything that makes it unique. If you want to do that, go play D&D. Now, I'm not saying that's bad, but go play Dungeons and Dragons. Don't play this. You defeat the purpose of the whole game. What makes it work? Strong tone, consistent use of personality mechanics, long-term thinking, the generational play, emotional stakes. Running Pendragon is about guiding a knight's life through honor, failure, and legacy, not just running encounters. In Pendragon, you don't measure success by what your knight wins. You measure it by the story they leave behind. Let me say that again. In Pendragon, you don't measure success by what your knight wins. You measure it by the story. Story is important, more important. They leave behind. It's like, oh, he might be dead, but was that fucking epic? Now we'll go over something a little bit more basic. Character creation. Not always basic. It tied into everything I said so far. Pendragon character creation. Simple on the surface. It really is deep underneath because of the gameplay that it's going to involve. Character creation in Pendragon is actually straightforward. So I hope this really makes it another appealing part. It's not hard. But what it represents, as you heard from my explanation so far, is very deep. You get a lot out of this basic character creation part. But this should make it a little more appealing. The core idea. You're not building a power build, a complex skill system. You are creating a knight with a personality, values, and a place in the world. Yeah, no worries. I've already said enough about that. You can always go check out what I have to say about that. I appreciate that, Craig Bragg. But I really do want to focus on Pendragon, dude. And I want to respond to people, but I don't want to be talking about this stuff. We're on Pendragon. You can always comment in the section where I've left some videos up or said some stuff. I put that out there so guys like you can have a talk with me. Be fair. Don't be an ass and don't lie. Right? Because I don't put up with that. But if you want to just be, hey, man, sorry to hear about the drama going on between people. That's totally cool. I'll respond. I'll interact with you. Here, I want you personally to enjoy this. I'm here to entertain you and talk about Pendragon. It's fucking great. I hope that's why you're saying it sort of sucks that we're feuding because you're hearing this going, this is pretty fucking good. I'm having a good time. Well, great. I hope that's what you're here having is a good time. Remember, I'm here to entertain you. Okay, let's get back to this. The core idea, you're not building a power build, a complex system. You're creating a knight with a personality, values, and a place in the world. Step 1, attributes. Basic but important. You generate stats like strength, dexterity, size, constitution, appearance. What matters here, these affect combat and survival. It's not like the game doesn't care about these areas, but it's just not the major focus. I hear you, monkey. I'm glad everyone's having a good time. So what matters here? These affect combat and survival, but they are not the focus of the character. They support the character. They don't define them. So he might be great at combat, but there's so many things about your character, so many details. That's the traits and the passions we went over. It just makes your character very deep and meaningful. It is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Step 2, skills. Focused, not overwhelming. You get a set of skills like sword, lance, horsemanship, awareness, courtesy. Key difference, you are not picking from hundreds of skills. You are shaping a nightly role. There's not a lot of choices, but there's a reason. It's about creating a specific type of character for the game. That's why character creation is not hard. It's actually really easy. Again, this is a part that I hope players especially, this is for the player. I did have to run for the game master and to give you an idea about the game overall. But this is to appeal to players that want to play the game. It might be challenging to go through some of this stuff, but this part is just easy and fun. You'll get an idea. You'll know who you're putting together. Step 3, traits. This is where it starts getting interesting. You assign values to personality pairs like, I already said, valorous and cowardly, honest and deceitful, merciful and cruel. This defines how your knight behaves, how they react under pressure. This is not flavor. This is mechanical identity. Step 4, passions. The emotional core of your character. You define things like loyalty, Lord King, love, family spouse, honor. These matter because they can boost your character. They can also destabilize them. It's all over. But again, for storytelling, neither is bad. That's what's beautiful about this game. It's not a game in that way. The game is about the story you tell. Really, not about winning or losing. So when you talk about playing a D&D character where you're like, I take a low thing because it's interesting to make a guy that has faults. Well, this game says, yeah, if you want to play it that way, this game is made for that kind of mindset to play interesting characters that have faults, because it's less about the character in that way. It's more about the interesting story told about the character with, good things and faults about them. So it's always that mindset is good here. You are building emotional drives, not just abilities. Step 5, family and background. This is where Pendragon stands out. You define your father's status, your family's history, your starting land manner. So again, the Pendragon stands out, family and background. Let me say, you define your father's status, your family's history, your starting land and manner. So that's really important. Meaning you are part of a lineage, not a lone character. You're always going to be part of a sort of like the generational play. You already exist in it. When you start the character, you're usually in a line already, right? You're just going to continue that forth in your own way. Or end it in your own way, right? Or end it. Step 6, starting glory. Glory is your reputation, your measure of success. Important. This replaces things like XP focus, power progression mindset. So if you understand this game is more about the reputation and your measure of success in the world, you start realizing gathering XP in this game, progressing stats, it doesn't matter as much. You are building a legacy, not just a character sheet. It's so important because your family line means you can have a child. And at one point, your character dies, and you play the child. The child is grown up. Now you start a new night. But you're not starting new. You're continuing. That's the continued generational play, right? So it's a legacy. Why this works so well? 1, it's quick to build compared to many systems. It's fast. 2, it's easy to understand. Clear roles, clear expectations. Anybody intimidated about Pendragon, let me just take that off your shoulders, my friends. This is one of the most clear systems ever for running it and playing it. The fact that I hear so many people going, oh, I don't know. I'm like, you can run this easily. You can play Pendragon easily. And for players getting into a game with a character, it's easy to understand and fast to make a character. Like I the way people talk about this sometimes is so vague. I get sort of bothered by it. I'm like, it's an easy game. Why talk about it like that? Why talk about it like it's some deep, like it's deep. It is deep in gameplay, not in how to understanding how to run it or play it. That part is not hard. You just have to be okay with it, taking some player agency away and whatnot. Like where it sort of says you've got to play a character for who they are rather than just what you want to do as a player. But you get the benefit I'll say is this. You get to decide who the character is at the start. So at least when you're forced to play the character for who they are, you decided that. That in that way, you are still in control as a player, right? So your player agency is still there during the process of character creation. And as long as you know that you won't have the freedom to do whatever, you can decide how you want to play the game. So there is agency that does exist at the start of the game. So in a way, this part gives you back some of what it might have to take away to get you to play your character for who they are. I hope that sounds more appealing to the people that get bothered by, oh, I can't just be cruel. No, dude. And you decided that, right? So clear roles, clear expectations, clear to you. Okay. So number 3, it has hidden depth. Traits and passions create complexity over time, where people get caught off guard. That the surprise, wait, my personality affects my actions? Yeah. You decided what it is. You can't just do what you want. Now, it's not a video game. It's not a video game. Okay, so before I get into 4E and the other editions, I want to go over the classic criticisms of this game and defenses against those criticisms. Pendragon, criticisms versus defenses. Where it goes. This debate isn't about is the system clunky, because it's not. It's about what is role-playing supposed to be. And that's why this one gets a little heated with people. Okay, first criticism. It takes control away from the player. The attack, that's what I call the criticism. Traits and passions can override decisions. You don't always act how you want as a player. Why am I rolling to see if I'm brave? Because you might not be. It's a situation where you're going to be challenged to see if you are brave here. Now, usually you might be, but in the forced situation where there's a lot of reasons that even some of the bravest guys could turn tail and run, the game master might decide this is a part where you don't get to choose to go the opposite of your traits, right? You're going to be challenged by the scene to see if it really does frighten you in a unique way. That goes back to a little level of realism despite the storytelling, but it plays into the story. Because in stories, in Arthurian legend stories, there are people that talk tail and run. That's important to know. The defense. Real people aren't fully in control either. No matter how brave we want to be, we might get scared. That's what the game is saying. Oh, I love Craig. Thank you, Craig. Okay, so again, the defense, real people aren't fully in control either. The system creates authentic behavior. It prevents fake, inconsistent role play. So it prevents fake, inconsistent role play. It wants something real here. You are not losing control. You are gaining a real character. Criticism number 2. It forces role play instead of letting it happen. That's the attack. Personality is mechanized, feels artificial. The defense. Most players don't role play deeply on their own. The system ensures consistency, emotional weight, character identity. It doesn't replace roleplay, it enforces it. Okay, criticism number 3. It's too restrictive, Arthurian only. The attack, locked into one setting, limited flexibility. The defense, that focus is its strength. Everything in the system supports that theme. It creates a cohesive experience. It's not limited, it's specialized. It's simulating something specific. So it just says we are not we are just not generally playing a normal game like Dungeons and Dragons, where you can sort of be what you want, like all this freedom. This is going, we are looking for an overall different experience where it's not just you play the night in the way that you should because you want to. It's saying you play the night the way you should because the game is going to make you, because that's what the game is trying to get out of the experience for you. Okay, criticism number 4, it's not a power fantasy. The attack, characters fail, lose, age, and die. The defense, that's the point. It's about legacy, not dominance. Success is measured differently. It's not about winning, it's about meaning. Again, game doesn't care about winning. This is about telling a story. Criticism number 5, it's too slow and long term. The attack, that's what the criticism is. Campaign takes years, in game and real time, not instant gratification. The defense, long term play creates depth. Generational storytelling is unique. Payoff is massive. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you got to go in just accepting that. Like if it's not your cup of tea, fine, but it's meant to be a long-term game. Almost like chess. You keep going back to the game over a long period of time with somebody. This is what this is. You got to keep coming back to this to complete it. But in that process, you get something amazing. And for the people that appreciate it, they'll say the instant gratification might be appealing in this other game for you. This part, this way it is, you'll hit markers where you're like, it's almost like the Rollmaster, and having Philo here talk about Rollmaster. At first, you could trip up, but the idea is you get smoother at playing it after a while. And when you get a group that's used to it, when you finally hit a peak night, your first night, where the game goes pretty smooth, Game Master's used to the charts, Chart Master, players are used to the game, and the game just goes smooth. You finally really encounter what the game is. When you go through this marathon, and you're having the beautiful long-term moments of the story being told and the events happening, you find what this game is meant to be, right? That's what you find. You encounter the things that the designer wants you to encounter. And in that moment, you start appreciating, oh, I had to go through that for this. And this feels good. But you have to have the patience, just like Worldmaster. In a different way, though, patience to get there. Criticism number 6, it can feel like the game is judging you. Oh, I've heard this one before. The attack, honor system, moral expectations, social consequences. The defense, it reflects the world of knights and chivalry. Actions have weight. Choices matter beyond combat. This game isn't judging you. It's judging your knight, the character. So it is judging, but not you, the player, your character. In a way, if you play the game right, none of it's your fault. You're playing the character for there. When the character fucks up, here's the beautiful thing about this game. The character fucked up. You're fine. Your only job is to play it right. That's it. You're there for this is a game where you're there for the story. You're there for the experience. So when your knight falls on the ground, this is not a game. It doesn't matter if they kick ass in a certain way. You get it? You're there for the experience. Falling on their face is part of the experience. That's what you realize with this game. It's okay to fall on your face. It's part of what they want you to feel, because this shit happens. It's simulating real. Experience it, take it in. You're not doing bad as a player. Relax. The real divide. This is the core split. Society A against Pendragon, people against Pendragon, wants full player control, agency, wants flexibility, not being forced into things, wants to define their character freely. I decide if my guy's cool or not. Side B for Pendragon wants structure in role play, wants emotional realism, simulating the real, wants the system to shape behavior. If you think Pendragon limits you, you probably want control. If you love Pendragon, you probably want it to be authentic. So if you think Pendragon limits you, you probably want control. If you love Pendragon, you want it to be authentic. Most RPGs let you decide who your character is. Pendragon tests whether that's actually true. So you think you go in, you're like, this is my character. Well, the game says, let's find out if that's your character. Because no matter what you designed before you got here, let's see in gameplay if it plays up the way you want. That's the competition you're going in with. And it's easy character creation, and then boom, you go in and go, can I really live up to who I wanted the character to be when I created the character? And the game it's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, none at all. Oh shit, Craig. Geez. Craig's hitting on everything. Very valuable to pay attention almost any night to my chat. Right? Because there's certain guys here that bring some beautiful statements, and it should just take a time out, pause. I don't care what you're going to do if you're watching it later. Always check out my chat. There's certain guys that come here and just lay it in the right way. Okay. Why this argument never ends? Because both sides are right. Yes, it restricts you. You're not wrong to say that. Yes, it creates deeper characters. You're not wrong to say that either. Yes, it limits freedom, player agency. True. Yes, it creates stronger identity. It depends on what you value. We'll decide if you like this game or not. If you value XP in combat, go play D&D. That's fine. If you value the story and an interesting character, come play Pendragon. Pendragon is either the deepest role-playing system ever made or a game that tells you how to play your own character. So let me say that again. Pendragon is either the deepest role-play system ever made or a game that tells you how to play your character. And it's your decision how you want to view that. Pendragon doesn't just ask you to role-play. It asks you to prove that you can. But it's not, I say this is true. This is a true statement. Pendragon doesn't ask you to role play. It asks you to prove that you can. Take it serious. Do what the game says. Then you'll be role playing. Can you do that? If you want to go drink beer and pretzels and not take the game serious, you're probably not role playing in the way that Pendragon would say is role playing. Okay. Now we're on to 4E, my favorite edition. This would be my recommendation to anyone who ever wants to get Pendragon. If you can get 4th edition, get 4th edition. What 4th edition did right? Why fans loved it. 4th edition 1993 is one of those versions people point to and say, this is where Pendragon really started to feel like itself. So everything I just told you is better reflected in this edition. It didn't reinvent the game. It tightened it, clarified it, and made it playable long term. Okay, 1. Cleaned up the rules. Earlier editions had some rough edges, inconsistencies, things that worked but weren't always clear. 4th edition smoothed out mechanics, made systems more consistent, reduced confusion at the table. This matters more than it sounds. It made the game easier to actually run. It wasn't that hard to begin with, but the clarity of 4th edition makes it easier just out of the book for you to run this. It's already not hard, but it clarifies it for you so you don't get confused. 2, stronger focus on campaign play. Pendragon isn't a one-shot game. It's a long campaign system. 4th edition leaned into that. Better support for long-term play, more emphasis on time passing, character development. Result, the game started to feel like a life simulator for knights, not just a series of adventures. So it starts getting out of the game what the game was intended to give you from the beginning. Winter phase becomes more defined. Number 3. The winter phase, already there before, got more structure, more importance. Why this matters. Your life outside of the adventure became meaningful. Family, land, and aging became part of the gameplay. This is a huge part of Pendragon's identity. I fucking love Pendragon. Fucking love Pendragon. Number 4, better interrogation systems. Before, traits, passion, skills all existed but didn't always feel fully connected. 4th edition brought systems together more cleanly, made them interact more naturally. The game started to feel like one cohesive experience instead of separate parts. Okay. Number 5, tone became more consistent. Pendragon always aimed for Arthurian myth, honor, and tragedy. 4th edition reinforced that tone, helped GMs understand how the game should feel. That's where they start drilling on being more consistent with applying traits and passions in the language of the game. Less generic medieval RPG, more you are playing in a legend. Number 6, it set the stage for 5th edition. It did, that's true. This is important. 4th edition didn't perfect Pendragon, but it made 5th edition possible. Think of it as 1st to 3rd, building the idea. 4th, organizing it. 5th, fully realizing it. A lot of people like 5th. I don't want to I'm covering 4th. It's a personal thing here. So it's facts, but I'm being honest. A lot of guys like 5th, and I don't want to deceive anyone with it. This is not me trying to give my opinion. So these are true facts and details about it. A lot of people like 5th. I personally like 4th, and I own it. So I just got to be real. So to a lot of people, this is the setup for 5e, which is their favorite. But there's a lot of people that still love 4e, right? 4th edition didn't change Pendragon. It made it work the way it was always supposed to. This is where Pendragon stopped being a great idea and started being a great game. Why fans still love it? Feels classic, less heavy than later editions, still has strong identity, and that feels less heavy. If you did feel like it was too much the earlier editions, reading it and trying to figure it out, this just cleans that up. Makes it feel like an easy game to get into. It really does compared. So, still has a strong identity. Easier to approach than the earlier versions. For some players, it hit the sweet spot between raw and refined. 4th edition made Pendragon smoother, clearer, and more playable without losing what made it unique. If early Pendragon was the vision, 4th edition was the version where the vision finally started to land at the table. So you might not be getting exactly what the designers wanted early, but this stage, you're there. Now let's go through the progression through the different editions. Pendragon editions, what actually changed? The real differences. This is one of those games where editions don't reinvent the wheel, they refine the same core idea over time. So the real question is, how much structure and polish do you want on top of the same foundation? Everything he's talking about here is good to understand and learn about if you want to play this game, because this game, the more you understand this stuff, the more Pendragon can sing for you, right? Because you'll just have knowledge that you can apply to your thinking and approach as a game master, as a player. And even if you don't really, the game is going to create it for you. But what Craig is offering you is to look at ideas, setting things up in your mind where if you understand this stuff, you can make this sing. First edition, 1985, the Raw Vision. What it is, the original vision by Greg Stafford, very focused on knights, traits, and passions, Arthurian tone. Key traits, simple compared to later editions, less structured long-term play. Rules are there, but they're not fully unified. Take. This is the pure idea, not fully refined yet. That's one of the rare statements that is opinion, but I tried to find something that would counter these light opinions that I'm putting at the end of these, and I think they tied to fact. So since I found nothing that would counter that statement and everything sort of seemed to support my thought on it, it's a rare time where I put an opinion sentence in or a line where I think it's a fact sentence, right? Just to be clear. Second, third editions, late 80s, early 90s, expansion phase. What changed? More content, more rules clarity, expanded setting support, big additions, stronger support for campaign play, Arthurian timeline, more detailed systems layered in. Take, building out the world and making the system more usable. It's a common sense statement, but I just didn't get, there's not a lot of interviews with these guys. So I wanted to add in a few lines where I thought it's probably something they would say anyway. Now, a basic run, we just did 4th edition, but I have to add this into the sort of evolution of the game. 4th edition, 1993, system refinement. What changes? Rules tightened, systems cleaned up, more consistency. Focus, making the game smoother to run, reducing confusion from earlier editions. Take, less expansion, more fixing what's already there. 4th edition did the right thing. So, here's new. Let's clean up what we have. Let's get this right. To me, that's why 4th edition appeals to me. It's the system going, we care about getting what we want the experience for you to have. Like, we want to get this right. We don't want to just make money here. I thought 4th edition was the least instant cash grab I've ever seen, where it was really going, we care about the game. I'm like, well, shit, dude, I'm on board because I care about the game as well. 5th edition, 2005, the definitive version for many, just true. What it is, the most widely praised edition, true, seen by many as the complete Pendragon experience. So you might want to get this, right? If you can get 4th for a cheaper price, I'd say get that because it sometimes can be cheaper and easier to access. But if you can get this, so seen by many as the complete Pendragon experience. Major improvements, fully interrogated, traits, passions, glory system, winter phase, strong, clear structure for long-term campaigns, generational play. Why fans love it? Everything works together cleanly. Best balance of depth, playability, takes. This is a take from me and being honest, even though I prefer 4th. This is me being honest. This is Pendragon fully realized. Oh, yeah. Craig's been hitting it out of the park all night. Put it this way. Pendragon players, Pendragon lovers will love everything he's like. They'll appreciate it more than a lot of other people are going to appreciate what he's posting up here. They really, really definitely will. I know people that are fucking hooked on this game. They talk like this. And I've played online with some guys from the UK. And not every one of them are fucking super knowledgeable, but when you meet one of those guys out there in that world that lived in that world, and they're talking about this stuff, just like Craig, it's you could see why they get addicted to their own history because it's fucking deep and beautiful. You can see why Pendragon was inspired. Yes, definitely. Thanks, Craig. Really appreciate that. But I want to add, this is a statement from me. Take. This is Pendragon fully realized. I'm a 4th edition guy, but this is me trying to show you that I don't deceive, right? I don't care about 5th edition, but given what I know about it, you'd have to say that about it, and that's the honest statement. Now, there is a 5.2 edition later update, cleaned up and clarification. What changed? Rule clarifications, minor tweaks, better organization, people could say. Take from me, same game, just cleaner and easier to use. It's sort of what 4th edition did for the earlier editions is what 5.2 does for 5th edition. It's all it is. It's a cleaned up, it keeps cleaning itself. Now we get to the horror story. Well, I call it, compared to the others, this is the one with the most pushback. 6th edition, recent modernization attempt. What changed? Streamlined presentation, adjusted mechanics in places, more accessibility focus. Big goal, make Pendragon easier to approach for modern players. I don't know how it was hard to approach for any player. That I don't get. That thought name confused me. Hold on, guys, for a second. Here, you want to say hi? I'll let you say hi to him. He's sleeping under a blanket behind me. So here you go. I don't know how cranky he's going to be. Say hi, Louie. Say hi. I'll let you look for a second. That's Louie. You guys have probably seen him a few times. My kitten. Beautiful kitten, isn't it? Beautiful kitten. We're talking about games here, so I hope this doesn't bother too much, but I know other people do this, and you guys seem to get a kick out of kittens. I'm going to let him out because he wants to go. I know he just woke up. He'll want to use the washroom, get a drink, get food. Go, my dude. Go. His name is Louie. Give you a quick rundown on Louie before we get back to the Pendragon. I saved him off the streets. He's not a cat I went out and got. He was a cat that was starving to death, and I opened my door because I was going to give treats to another outside cat that belongs to another family, and I get along with the kitten. That cat came up behind him. Good timing alarm, so I don't got to talk about Pendragon when the alarms are gone. That kitten followed up behind that cat, and he came to my home, and he was starving to death. So I saved his life. Oh, I would imagine. Yep, a lot of people think he's gorgeous. Tell me all the time he's gorgeous. And he's really well behaved, really mostly calm, like super calm, right? One of the comments, and the other thing is, I hate to say it's weird, he's not a smelly cat. So most people that come in my home, they go, like you don't get a pet, do you? I'm like, I have a cat. They're like, no. I'm like, yeah. Because I live in a small apartment, right? So you would think, but no, he's very, very fucking clean. Very super clean. So again, the big goal, make Pendragon easier to approach for modern players. I personally think that's just thinking modern people are more stupid. The mindset of thinking that way confuses me, but whatever, you got to sell something. Mixed reactions. Oh, so true. Craig is nailing it right there because not everybody wants to know real history. Right, Craig? There's just some things people just leave out. Not everybody is studying everything. So it's all good. It's all good. Okay, mixed reactions. Some like the cleaner approach. Others feel it loses some old school feel, the soul. Or changes things that did indeed change it. Like that is working well. What are you doing? That's just you trying to make something to sell. Cash grab. Okay, here's a take. Trying to modernize a very specific classic system. I think it's wrong. This is what this was trying to do. Overall, it's trying to modernize a classic system. It's almost like saying it's trying to push things into it that don't need to be there. That's it. Okay. The real divide between editions. It comes down to this. Older editions, raw, less structured, more DIY feel. 5th edition, structured, complete, best version for many. 6th edition, cleaner, more accessible, slightly different feel. The slightly different feel to me, it just wasn't needed. It's what it is feels right. Okay. Pendragon didn't change its identity across editions. It just got better at delivering it. At least up to 5e, people would say. Every edition is the same soul, just with different levels of polish and structure. These are statements that are not mine, but a lot of people argue that 6th edition loses some of that soul. Why fans argue about editions? Because the core idea never changed, but the presentation and feel did. So fans argue over purity versus polish, old school feel versus modern accessibility. Pendragon's editions aren't about changing the game. They're about refining how clearly it expresses what it already is. No matter the edition, Pendragon is still asking the same question. What kind of knight are you, really? Philo's just getting, I could tell Philo's right into it. He's going, this is what as soon as players start thinking like that, you know, this is appealing to them. Because they start hearing the rules and they're like, I can play this guy into it. I could do this thing. I could take those traits. The second you start thinking like that, Pendragon is for you. If the player agency thing doesn't scare you off and you think like Felix here, you're in. Every player I know that thinks like him starts thinking creative. I'm like, this is where I say we shouldn't pigeonhole ourselves into certain kinds of players. Like, for example, Philo was here a few nights ago with the Rollmaster thing, and you might think he's a hardcore, just this and that. And like, here I am presenting a story game, and he's like, he's already in the creative zone. That means this game would appeal to him. So that's the way I was. I always seen people would pigeonhole each other into, oh, you're the 2nd edition guy. Well, I played and ran 50 games, so I'm an everything guy. I spent more time with 2nd edition because, in all honesty, it was just easy. There was more players to get. And that was it. Remember, it's before 3rd edition. So it's like the latest edition D&D, and the latest edition, that's how it works. There's more people playing it. So I spent more time running that game than I did others. But I ran the other ones a lot. Don't get me wrong. Cool. Well, kids, that was Pendragon. And I got a poor Jack or Jake or whatever his name was. God damn, I fucked that up. I really didn't mean to fucking do the block thing on him. I just thought he was taking a poke at me. My head was so into the Pendragon stuff that I was trying to get rid of the drama that was going on. But I'm glad Craig came in and backed me up. I'm glad Craig kept his head in the game for the Pendragon, because I know Craig just loves his own history. So I know that's a benefit. Here's an excuse for him to talk about everything he said. I'm reading it going, I want to give more response to this, but I'm doing the Pendragon, but fucking great stuff, right? You're welcome, Monkey. I really appreciate everyone being here and really taking this in. I hope it's been entertaining, right? I hope you're fucking hyped for the game. Yeah, true, Monkey. That's true. Thank you, Black Rose. I hope this really appeals to you guys. I'm dead serious. I love Pendragon. For absolute real. I love Pendragon. It's probably one of my favorite games that just weren't enough players to really run it for. I had a lot of gaming with it, but there wasn't as many D&D players. That's it. A lot of guys, we don't like it takes player agency away. I'm like, okay, if you see it that way, I guess it's not going to appeal to you. But I mean, like, if you get to put that behind you, this is it. Oh yeah, it was a bit confusing. It's a bit confusing. I just had so many weird interactions in the last so many days. So I'll apologize to Jack. I'll fix that up. I have to get him out of the thing. I just don't know exactly where to go. I'll fix that up right away. But we'll get it all. Boom. I hope that's about the presentation. Because I got Philo here, a guy that I know likes rough games, fucking hyped on a story game. And for all you out there that say story gaming is no good, there's games like Pendragon, they're so special that we should be able to enjoy it. Like, see, I don't like to be pigeonholed. I like Traveler. I like D&D. I like the different ways of running games. I like the different experiences. I like the story. I like the fucking going for X. But I like XP and levels. I like fucking fighting the goblins. I like everything I love about gaming. I'm a passionate guy about this stuff. And I've never been, this is just one thing. It's just tabletop role-playing games in general. That's you want to know what? Sci-fi is beautiful. There's no doubt, Craig. It's a beautiful thing, but this is also beautiful. Oh, well, I'm going to be doing some of that, covering some of the spy stuff, and oh, geez, monkey, you're gonna love me. There's gonna be some nights if you're into that stuff. Yeah, covering that big, right? There's a lot of old games that are spy related and everything, and whew, they're fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. I'm going to be covering that stuff for sure. On my birthday, which will be May 3rd, not April coming up, but May 3rd, I've decided that night is going to be a very popular game, and a game that a lot of people either have played and know about or just hear about vaguely. Oh, I promise you, I'll put a list up of some of the games I haven't got scheduled up at one point later again, so you can see some of that stuff. Cool. My birthday is going to be, because I'm going out with somebody for my birthday before my birthday, so I'll be home. And I decided to turn that into a stream night, and I'm going to cover Shadowrun, a very popular game, a very well-known. But I find people that have not experienced it vaguely know what it is. It's like Pendragon. I hope I cleared up what Pendragon is for a lot of people, so they can understand about playing to the character, not just doing what you want to do, and how easy it is to run as a game master, how easy it is to play as a player, how easy character creation is. That's the part that seems to scare a lot of people away. They think it's going to be very complicated and hard, and you got to be an advanced thinker to play, or you got to be an advanced role player to role play right. No, you don't. All right, Black Rose, thank you for staying to the end, buddy. I appreciate that. Love you. Go get a good sleep. Go have a good one. Yeah, a lot of people think it's tied to that, the story. I mean, I've heard so many what King Arthur could be and all that. One of the best stories I've seen was about this young guy who, I forget what the name of it is, but he's a young guy. I just can't remember the details, right? Yes, go get a good one. Oh, and your birthday cake in Labatt Blue. Yes, I really will be having a drink. I have to see how that rules work for streaming. I think you can drink on the stream, or I have to take a thing off. I don't know. I'll check all that out. But I will be cake in that for the birthday for sure. Yes, I had to look into a lot of stuff for certain things, but for Pendragon, it's just amazing. It blows my mind what people think it's too difficult for. I'm like, no, the game is telling you how to play it. It's actually easy. It's actually really easy to role play. It's just you're role playing in a specific way. You just do what you're supposed to do and you'll role play. And so it's a unique experience. It's not hard at all, but it is what they say. It's one of those things where it's not simple stupid, it's simple genius, because the simplicity around it still doesn't take away. It gives it actual deep depth. Like, it's a game where you realize you don't need a big complicated thing to get something complicated. It's something simple that gets you something oddly very complicated, right? You get a complicated experience, very depth experience, but from a very simple standpoint. It's weird. That's why I wanted to hype up the game, because I've heard so many people, what is this? Well, now they know. And it took me almost 2 hours. Not bad. It's a little longer than an hour. I'm surprised, but maybe because I had to stop and do a few things. My favorite story about Arthur is fiction. Oh, yeah, the story. It's about this young guy who, one of the first things he learns is, instead of just like fighting somebody with a sword like normal, I just can't remember the whole background to it. I should have came prepared for this, but I just remember as we're talking. One of the first actions he's taught is how to slice at the back of the leg. Because at the back of the leg, lower down, there's all these tendons. And the second you cut that leg out, you fuck somebody. The second you stab at the back of the leg, you're screwing who you're fighting. They can bleed out easily and die quickly. So there's certain things you cut at the back, lower end of the leg. When you cut into it, man, you bleed out people really quickly. Like you can ironically kill somebody pretty easily at the back, and you're like, not through the heart. Well, there might be arm, but there might be this, or you might have a hard time swinging forward. Nope, down swing at the leg, up high, down swing at the leg, mainly at the back of the leg if you can get behind the guy. And because there, and why was that important? A lot of armor, a lot of areas would be open to the back of the leg. You can cut through and kill people quite easily. And it's taking a story that was fantasy, but it's teaching something real. And when I looked at that story and the study behind it, it's the closest thing I think that really comes to the character of King Arthur. Like that might be something that inspired King Arthur, but I agree with what you're saying here. Both the round table thing you were saying. Yeah, that's definitely probably Roman. So there's King Arthur's story is probably a pieced together gimmick. That's most likely. But the thing that inspired King Arthur, I think it was that story. I just can't remember anything about that other than that one detail. It does sort of feel like that, doesn't it? Like you're treading on history. Wouldn't that be boring? I'm like, not with Pendragon, though. No. No, I get what you're saying. It's that view. There you go, Craig. That's exactly it. I'm not saying I'm a fucking genius on this thing. I just remember that detail. And that's why they would teach guys, knights, to stab at the back of the leg. And this is the story about this one guy. And this one guy, it's like a real story. But I actually think it's the closest thing I believe to. I think that guy might have inspired the King Arthur gimmick. Because he meets real people with the names that you would think. Right? Like very many names he meets are names that line right up with the King Arthur story. But it's a real story, but a real guy. So you're like, wow, if I didn't know, I think that's King Arthur. Like, is it because they always say, is King Arthur just myth? Well, if you look at that guy's story, no, that's real. He was sort of like a king, high noble, had all the characters around him. I'm like, geez, I can't find another real story that's so matched that you would lift off that story and tell the story about him. And he meets the Druids of the time, right? Guys that would use fire and stuff like that, where it's the way they trick people into believing they can do magic was quite funny. But they actually believe it. A lot of people believe they can do magic at the time. And the Druid is where you meet the wizard, right? Merlin. Merlin's a Druid in his story, right? Now, of course, that's said in other stories, but in the story with this guy, which is supposed to be more real than anything, you meet a Druid who like tricks people into thinking he can survive death because he has a twin brother. Oh, it's a wild story. It's a twin brother. And he does this wild thing where he comes out of the fire and people are like, he's alive. Well, he is, not his brother, right? But you get this moment where people start believing this is a Merlin guy who can cast magic. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. You probably know a lot more than me, Craig. You could probably pull up stories where you're like, Steven, you're close, but what about this guy? Okay. That's opinion. Now, how would I improve Pendragon? The guy asked me earlier. I wouldn't. Raw rules is written. That's it. A 4th edition anyway. I just never got into 5e. Probably would do the same thing with 5e before E. Raw rules is written. Yep. There's an evidence of magic in Burrow, a turf maze based on the labyrinth. Jeez. Craig, you're magic, buddy. I like you. I like you a lot. You're my kind of guy. I think if we were more in person, we'd be gaming together. And if I can ever pull it off that you're gaming online, regardless of any things we got to work out, you got to get in a certain mindset and comfortable that night. Maybe we can pull some stuff off, right? Maybe some sci-fi stuff. Maybe Pendragon. I know I'm hitting the 2-hour mark, but I had to do that thing earlier. Look, I apologize to anyone who wanted to talk about the drama they heard tonight. I know the accusations are big, but I want to focus on my gaming stuff. They're just bullshit. But the reason it doesn't concern me too much is I didn't really do this stuff. So I have a response to it. That's it. It's not something I want to focus on. Again, somebody's going around either showing a fake receipt or showing somebody using my name illegally to charge people to play a game. And if you're going to illegally use my name, that's why I have my family lawyer coming for a meeting with me on Wednesday, and we're going to look into the whole thing. Yeah, that's why I know people wanted to mention something about it. It's just I put videos up, I put comments up for people to reply to so I could focus on the stream tonight. Because I think the guys are trying to sabotage my stream, sabotage everything I'm doing, which is what they do. That's it, right? Yeah, Blaze. It's casual time, Dave. I don't do this during the whole thing. Like, so when I'm on point, this gets put away. But when I'm in casual mode, just shooting the shit with you, yeah, it's when I don't puff. I used to do weed, but I quit for a long time. So very happy about that too. I have no temptation for it. It gets smoked in front of me. I don't care no more. Though I did have withdrawal when I first quit. I had a hard time sleeping and just weird stuff. It just took me probably a good 2 weeks to get out of that phase. I really had problems with sleeping when I first quit. But then I got back to happiness, and I haven't felt like the need for it, or all the shit went away that was related to it. And then I had people smoking in front of me, so I'm like, oh. But I sort of got shitty with people about bringing this stuff up tonight, because it's just like, don't bombard my Pendragon. I want to pitch Pendragon. It's really important to me. Don't bombard that shit. I already had to deal with Discord the other night. Yep, 100%. Fucks with your mind the wrong way. Gets you paranoid, gets you all that shit. Got out of it. It made it easier doing this. I'll be real with you. Made it completely easier doing this. I've always had confidence, but I had a long period of time where I was just smoking it pretty heavy, and I'd be doing these things stressed out, paranoid, going into them. I'd perform well, but I'd be stressed out. So just personally, I find this like breathing air now. Like, this is just way easier. Cool. Craig talks about the stuff I'm really fucking dragons, swords, and you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, the drama. I didn't charge anybody anything to ever play a game since 1991. Been running tabletop role-playing games. Would never, ever do that. Thank you, Hydro. I appreciate first time I've seen you up in the chat. I hope you sat back and enjoyed the whole thing. I don't know if you're painting miniatures or having a tea, but I entertain. I know Craig and guys like this are fucking top-notch fucking people who I love. And they always add when they tend to the stream with the chat. But I tell people, because I know my audience, I'm entertaining older folks mostly. So I don't want them to feel like they got to sit there and chat with me all night. Just relax, guys. I can do this. I don't feel bothered by not having people talk to me. I did streams for quite a while before I started building up a real audience with this, where it was just me, and then most people would watch afterwards. And I'd be like, I get a lot of views afterwards, but I might not get a lot of live views. And I didn't care. I perform. So I'm totally cool with this. On top of my it bears uncanny resemblance to sleeping smog. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I really hope I sold Pendragon tonight. Regardless of the things I had to pause on or talk about it front, I hope I sold Pendragon tonight, because just so many people I've heard out there go, man, it sounds cool, but it's probably hard to role play. It's a story game. It takes player agency away. And I'm like, here, let me explain why. Let me give you all the whys. Let me give you the real information on this game. So when you know, oh shit, that's really easy. Yes, it is. But it gets you a very beautiful, deep experience, even though it's really easy to do so. The easy part, to me, I don't know why Pendragon, the guys who are putting it out there, didn't advertise that more. But if you look at the advertising, they don't do it that much. They don't advertise it as an easy to run game. I think they thought it would hurt. Oh, it's easy character creation. Character creation is so easy. They thought it would hurt. But I'm like, now that we know the more mindset of the majority of people, you realize it's a selling point. No, it's because this is made old school by old school people. So at the time, you don't really know the mindset of all the people in the hobby, right? You think they want something more difficult. That's why Rolemaster is not forgiving when it makes it hard for you to get in. Tunnels and Trolls was criticized for how easy it was, even though the guy believed he really had a passion. He was right. He was ahead of his time back in the 70s. The guy who made Tunnels and Trolls, he was ahead of his time. He personally wanted an easier, accessible game. We didn't know what most people thought when he decided he wanted to make that. And he didn't really make it for money at first at all. He made it as a passion reaction to Dungeons and Dragons, making it easier for himself. And the guy had no idea how ahead he was on this thing. Most people want easier to run, easier to understand, easier to play. Most people want that to be real. That's why Rolemaster does have a minority of people compared to a lot of other games, but when you find the right people, you're in. Not really. It's more real. It's real. You can get some fantasy. There is some fantasy side stuff you can get with it, but it's more real. It's just basically more real. You're playing in a real world, right? But there is a little bit of that fantasy. There is some side stuff. The Arthur stuff does bring some side magic into it if you really want to dig into fantasy, but it's not necessary for the game. So it's if you like playing real knights in a more realistic setting, that's what it is. That's what it really is. But it does play a bit. It leans slightly into it. Just not necessary. There is some side. You can go get some side stuff on magic and stuff, but it's not necessary. Not necessary for Pendragon. I don't know about 5th edition as much. I just didn't get 5th edition to really go through it. But I've just heard so many things and heard from the designers that I'm like, yeah, this is the most accurate stuff I can put up about it. And I did. And most people played 5th edition, to be honest. I just mostly stuck to 4E. All right, we're over the 2-hour mark. I'm going to end it there. I hope everybody enjoyed. I hope people enjoy later. I love you all. Thank you, Craig. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. Philo, Monkey, even Dave here at the end. Really appreciate that. I really appreciate, especially Craig. Check out what Craig was saying during the stream when you're watching, right? Just take it in, right? Take it in. I'll read here what Felix said. I can't just walk away. I think what Dan Carter, he said in the time magic was real. They believed in it, made there is language like that in there. Like it's I'm not saying that's wrong. It just doesn't play as if magic is a gimmick, right? You too, Monkey. You too, Monkey. Oh yeah, you could hear about magic and believe it's real. All right.